Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts, and today we're going to be making this adorable pram style gift box. I'll give you the sizes that I've used as we go along, but it is a super versatile box in terms of the size of circle that you can use to create the front and back panels. You can make this as large or as small as you want. One thing I would say that I found as I've got to the end of the project, which I'm going to tell you now, is once you've cut the front and the back circles and you've cut your side joiner piece, before you add your joiner piece, cut your outside circles for your wheels. Lay your outside circles for the wheels on your side panels and just mark with a pencil where the wheels are going to sit. I think it's easier to do it that way when the pieces are flat than it was to do it the way that I've done it, where I've added the wheels after the piece is being constructed, and then I've had to try and make sure I get the wheels in the same place. So without further ado, let's get started. To start with, I've cut myself two circles which are 4 3/4 inches in diameter. I cut one in copier paper and then folded it in half and folded it in half again to give me the score lines, and then I've cut a 1/4 segment out, and I'm going to use that as my template for where to cut my segment out of my pram. And I am going to cut both of them at the same time. So I'm just going to lay my segment on top, take my scissors and cut away a 1/4 from the circles. So there we have the front and the back of our pram. Once you've created your circles, you just need to decide how wide you want the side panels to sit apart, and obviously you can adjust those to suit your needs. Clearly, aesthetically, some distances are going to look better than others. I have cut myself a strip which is 3.5 inches by the length of an A4 sheet, and I've scored it at 1/2 inch and 3 inches, which is giving me this 2.5 inch panel in the middle, and I've then cut my teeth down the outside glue tabs, and this cutting of the teeth is probably the most laborious part. And if anyone knows any quick simple method that doesn't need an electronic die cutting machine to create the teeth, please let me know in the comments. The reason I've chosen 2.5 inch is because I actually laid the two pieces up in my scoreboard within the tracks and just move them apart until I felt that they were a distance which I felt looked pleasing. I've added a slight curve into my strip, and I'm now just going to adhere the strip onto the inside and join the two pieces together. Now, the one thing that I would point out is clearly the larger the circles, the more chance you have of needing to add two strips of cardstock together to create the edge around the 3/4 circumference of the circle. So just bear in mind where you want your join to be. If I needed a piece any longer than this, I would want to join mine at this segment under the bottom. I've used a full length of A4, but I may need to trim this off at the end. I folded the teeth in on my strip, and now I'm just going to use my quick grab glue and go around and add the strip onto the side panels. I'm going to work lining up the edge of my panel with the edge of my side panel and just work my way round slowly, making sure that I get a nice crisp edge. You will find that the better you've burnished the score lines and the more you've added a curve into the cardstock, particularly if you're using a heavier weight cardstock. This one I'm using is 270 GSM. The more you curl the paper, the better your joins will be. So I'm going to take that right up to the end. So that's one side complete. And then once the other side is added, I will trim off this excess here between the two panels. Now that one side's added, it's slightly easier to add the second side because I've got more of a rigid surface to press against. If you've got a youngster who likes, or any age, who likes the old, probably what we'd call retro gaming now, you could have this in yellow and it could be a Pac-Man. I'm now just going to go in with my tool and just make sure all the teeth are stuck down. The side panels and the joiner panel are now dry, and I've just trimmed off with my scissors. I've just cut straight across. Now it is just a case of creating your pieces and decorating. Remember that the elements that you add on to represent the wheels, they are likely the pieces which are going to be supporting the box. Bear in mind the cardstock that you're using for the wheels, and I have cut 8 pieces for the outer wheel, and I'm adhering 2 together with my construction glue just to make sure that they have got some strength. You decide aesthetically what look you find pleasing. These circles are 1 3/8 of an inch. So they are going to sit like that on the sides, and then they will have some extra pieces on to make them look more like wheels. I'm going to go ahead with my decoration, and then if I add on any additional pieces, like for instance the handle, I will give you the measurements for those at the end. Here we have the finished project. You can see I've added the wheels, which I've used various size circle dies. The brads are for effect, the wheels are actually glued on. I've added the DSP on the inside just to cover the teeth, and I cut my inside circle 1/4 of an inch smaller and then cut out my quarter segment. And the quarter segments which came out of the inside pieces I've then added on to the outside to create the hood effect, and then I've just added a strip. The handle, I actually managed to peel up the inside so that that's stuck down behind, and that's just a 1/4 inch strip of mirror cardstock. And the frill effect, I used a punch which I've had in my stash for ages and very rarely use, so that's coming really handy. I think it's absolutely super. I love it. It was actually quite quick to put together. I've had great fun with the decoration, so I'm really happy with how it's come out. Yes, I appreciate it's very pink, and that's not to everyone's tastes, but you can obviously make it whatever colour and size it up or size it down as you need. It's actually quite versatile. And all I would say is when you're doing the sizing, just think about how it looks in terms of how wide the project is. And there's plenty of room to even put the baby's name on the front if you so choose. I hope you've enjoyed today's project and you'll give it a go. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell for future videos. Until next time, thanks for watching.